So what should an importer expect under FSVP? Well, one thing is a change of roles. Most food importers are small importers, and they're primarily thinking in terms of buying and selling food, relationships with their buyers and their sellers, with logistics companies, with brokers. FSVP is going to require all importers to wear a food safety hat that they're not used to wearing. It's not something that they're familiar with. It may very well be that many importers would have to hire or find third parties who are qualified individuals in order to help them actually implement FSVP as the FDA rolls it out. Another example of change is going to be the relationship that an importer is going to have to develop with the foreign suppliers. It's not uncommon that foreign suppliers and importers have an arm's length transaction, true third parties. And so there's going to be some difficulty that importers will have in being able to enhance that relationship so they can get the records they need in order to show that the foreign supplier is in compliance with the requirements. There are going to be increased overhead costs as a result of FSVP. Not only just new individuals, but record keeping is going to be necessary, a whole system to document the hazard analysis, the risk evaluation, and of course, each time product comes in, to be able to perform some evaluation that the foreign supplier remains in control of their food safety regime. And then I think one of the biggest surprises will be an increased interaction with FDA. Seafood importers have become used to FDA coming in to perform inspections because they're used to having FDA evaluate their affirmative steps and verification procedures under Seafood HACCP. But most food importers will not be used to that. Most food importers will not have familiarity with an FDA inspection, but the only way FDA really can ensure FSVP is being implemented is by going to the importer and ensuring they have an FSVP system in place and they have verified their foreign suppliers and the imported food are in compliance with the Act. And that will probably be a surprise. So what will these inspections be like? If they're anything like Seafood HACCP inspections of importers, and FDA has indicated they will, then these will be like domestic facility inspections rather than inspections of imported food. The significance of that is that they will not occur while imported food is being examined. In other words, it's not connected to an importation. It really is FDA coming in to inspect the facility and its program, not connected to the imported food. The good thing about that is that FDA would not be holding cargo while they conduct the inspection. So what should you do now as a U.S. importer of food? The first is determine when you must comply with the rule. FSVP implementation is staggered. It's staggered largely based upon the size of the importer and also the size and implementation dates of the foreign suppliers. Remember, the importer is verifying compliance of the foreign supplier with food safety requirements. Well, those requirements only come into effect throughout the next several years as well. So it's impossible to verify compliance of a foreign supplier if the foreign supplier is not yet required to comply. So all of this is going to be implemented and rolled out over time. But you can actually determine roughly when FDA would expect you to be in compliance and to be implementing the rule. Second, it would be important to determine who's the importer. It's not uncommon in many import transactions that a number of different parties could be the importer. Well, whoever the importer is, that is the person who will be responsible for FSVP. And this is the kind of question that you need to begin to think about for your supply chain as to how do you contract out the proper roles and responsibilities under FSVP. It primarily needs to be handled by contract so all the parties in the supply chain know who's going to take on the responsibility of verifying the foreign suppliers in compliance with the law. And if you think about it, it should be someone who has a relationship, a good strong relationship with the foreign supplier. Otherwise, there could be some challenges in performing the verification steps. Another step you should be taking now is assessing your current process. Really, this is a gap analysis. It's looking at the regulations, looking at the requirements, and looking at your own systems in order to determine what your foreign facilities are like, your foreign suppliers, the length of your relationship with those suppliers. What kind of systems do you know they have in place based upon some certification at least, or some prior audit? Do you know that they supply a larger importer and therefore they would be able to perform some verification for you on your behalf? Can you work this out with other third parties in order to ensure compliance? You need to think about the food you're importing, whether or not there are hazards associated with those foods that would be serious or produce the kinds of effects that could be death if there was a food safety problem. Because there you're going to have likely some kind of audit obligation associated with the facilities that produce that food. So by looking at your current facilities, your current supply chain, and the foods you're bringing in, you can start performing a gap analysis in order to determine where do you need to do some work? Where do you need to at least shore it up with documentation? And are you sure you've got a good, solid risk evaluation in place? If not, now's certainly the time to be thinking about that and starting to evaluate your own system. Thank you for spending a few minutes with us here at FDAimports.com. We remain committed to helping the industry and our clients understand and comply with these regulations as they're implemented by the FDA.